Oh, go ahead, Patrick.
So, Larry, I have a 2002 Camry,
Okay.
and I had two codes, the 325, which is the knock sensor one, bank one, and the 430 catalytic system efficiency below threshold.
Okay.
So what happened is I figured, well, let me just buy the two sensors and ask a mechanic that I know just to replace the sensor and whatever else he finds to replace the sensor. I just gave him the sensor. He didn't even went through troubleshoot or anything, and he literally replaced the sensor without even telling me that he didn't replace the harness. So now I'm getting a 330 and no catalytic problem anymore. What should I do?
So you still got a knock sensor code.
Yes, at 330 now.
Okay.
It moved to the bank too.
Okay. Well, Patrick, a knock sensor code can, it can come up for several different reasons. One of them is if you're not getting a good connection, that could be an issue. A lot of times on these older vehicles, if you replace a knock sensor, it's a good idea to replace the pigtail connector that goes along with it. Yeah. Because the plastic that holds the wires in place, they get so old and brittle that when you plug them back in, a lot of times they'll fall apart, or they'll allow the wire to actually slide up in the connector just because they've been cooked for so long, being hooked to the engine there like that. The other issue is, too, if you've got a knock sensor code, if the engine's making any noise, now it will set a knock sensor code as well. If there's something internal in the engine that is, ticking or knocking or anything like that, it will cause you to set a knock sensor code, so when a knock sensor realizes that there's something inside of an engine that's actually making a little bit of noise, what it'll do is it'll tell the computer system to actually retard the engine timing, because it's trying to prevent it from, blowing the motor up or the engine coming apart. So it'll retard the timing back on the engine, and give you some, a lot less performance out of the motor, all because it's trying to keep from hurting itself, basically. So it's something that, are you getting any noises out of the motor itself?
Fine, except that now it's just you can't run at high speed because it never goes in overdrive. That's it. But everything else, the car is perfect. And it's one of the things that happened not recently, but before this code, like a few months before, in this V6, there is like a hose that goes in between the V part. That thing broke, and it was leaking all over the place.
Leaking coolant.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yes, that's it. And that was replaced. That was changed. Obviously, I should have done that then, and I should have bought the harness for him. Because I thought he would tell me, hey, I got to change this harness, but I assumed he knew.
Yeah. Listen.
I can go back in there and open it up and change the harness just to see if that will fix it.
Yeah, if the motor's not making any noise, you're probably all right with that. The other thing, too, Patrick, if the vehicle's not going into overdrive like it's supposed to, believe it or not, you might want to check your thermostat. If the thermostat is stuck open, or if the engine's not getting to the correct temperature on that vehicle, it will not go into overdrive until it does. And so if the engine temperature is too low because of a bad thermostat, or let's just say somebody took the thermostat out of the engine, those are reasons why it would not go into overdrive. So if everything else in the transmission is working correctly, it's just not going into overdrive, torque converter lockup type of situation, you may want to just try putting a new thermostat in it. That could correct that problem.
You just told me something. My daughter just told me. This is my daughter's car. It's not overheating, but the temperature gauge is going just a little bit above what she's normally seeing it.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
you may have a good point. I'll replace the thermostat before I replace the other one.
Yeah, give that a shot. And we wish you luck, Patrick. Thank you so much for your call, buddy.